maybe one more time we should go around and say who you are and what you did on the show, starting over here.
I'm Heidi, and I was Paulina and the Gentleman.
I'm Taylor. I was the dramaturg and wrote the abridged version of the show.
I'm Katie. I played King Polixenes, the Lord and the Mariner.
I'm Caitlin, and I played the shepherd and Prince Mamilius.
I'm Emily. I played the shepherd's son and Antigonus.
I'm Jacqueline. I played Perdita, Time, Officer, and Servant.
I'm Wesley. I played Camillo and Cleomenes.
I'm Sydney. I played Autolycus and Amelia.
I'm Gabrielle, and I played Leontes.
I'm Lily, and I played Queen Hermione and Prince Florizel.
So we'd be happy to answer any questions about Shakespeare, about The Winter's Tale, about acting, about Michigan State. Anything come to mind? Yes.
This was a class? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, this was a what we call an initiative. So we do different productions for different reasons. Mm-hmm. This is part of it's a number of things. We have it's part of kind of my research in a way. It's also an educational experience because we're getting people to perform Shakespeare, and we're also, as part of this, we're doing a series of podcasts. So the members of the cast are interviewing experts in Shakespeare about, usually focusing on The Winter's Tale, and publishing that as well. So yeah, it's not actually connected to a class. We've been rehearsing in the evenings for the last 2 weeks.
So they auditioned for it? Is that how that works?
They were selected. This is a curated group. Yeah. Yes?
How many times did you all read through it as a cast, like together? If you did.
This updated version? This updated version, probably once or twice. We've done 2 weeks of rehearsals leading up to this, and it started with a lot of sitting around a table, kind of just talking out loud, reading the entire script, which took us like 3.5 hours. And then we slowly would go through, and Taylor would cut it down to a version that was as short as this.
And do you want to tell them what we're doing on Sunday?
We're performing at the planetarium, and we're doing the same one but a 2-hour version, and it's going along with a star show at the planetarium, which is really cool. So if you want to come to East Lansing on Sunday, it's at 5:30 and it's free. So
yeah.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Why Winter's Tale? Like out of the camp, who chose it? Why this one?
I guess that's my choice. I just love it. It's because it's such a weird play, right? It's not. I mean, it starts out kind of like a tragedy, and then it becomes this weird comedy with shepherds and thieving Autolycus and all, and then it becomes, and then there's weddings and so it's it's one of Shakespeare's later plays, and it's called a romance, but it mixes all of these different genres together. And so I just love that, and it keeps me on my toes. Also, the language is some of the most complex, and the way that Shakespeare uses verse in this play is really, I mean, he's at the top of his game at this point in his career. And so if we're going to spend 2 weeks just digging into it, I wanted it to be something that people generally don't know as well. It's not one of the more well-known shows. And as far as I know, there haven't been any like movie versions or anything recently. So I wanted to do something obscure, but also something that was just sort of meaty and interesting. Yes?
Why have multiple parts for each actor and not a bigger cast?
Well, yeah, I'll answer that question. Because part of this is about, so you saw there was very little staging. There were a couple of things, we had the statue and things like that to help out. But the main point of this is about hearing Shakespeare. The expression, going to hear a play, where you are an audience right now, audience audio, so that's where that comes from, that people started out going to hear a play for the most part, whereas people that watch television are called viewers. So we really wanted to focus on what people were hearing, and that's why we're doing it like this. That's why we're doing it at the planetarium, so people can kind of watch a star show and not really focus on what the actors are doing. And then it allows the actors to play multiple parts and to create different characters with different voices and different, you know, a different take on that, so that they have that opportunity to do that. Yeah.
Okay, I got lots. Are you guys theater majors?
Yes.
Yes.
All of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All performance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you undergrad?
Yes.
I know. Did you do, and obviously it's a loaded question for one, but did the rest of you do Shakespeare in high school? Like, did you have some exposure to it? How much was there?
I did Macbeth in middle school, and it was a middle school version, so I was a narrator. And so I spoke in contemporary language and said, this is what's going on. That's the only Shakespeare I've had, so.
I did like a few scenes in classes, like in acting classes, and then that was about as much as I've done in my entire life, other than now.
Yeah, I didn't have, the only thing, I just remember reading Romeo and Juliet my freshman year of high school,
Everyone did.
and that's kind of the only experience I had with Shakespeare in high school, yeah.
In my sophomore year of high school, I played Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream for our fall play, which was awesome. It's a good show. Yeah.
So I have a question then for those of you that are mostly new to Shakespeare. How has your opinion of Shakespeare or performing Shakespeare changed over the last 2 weeks of working on this?
I think it's so cool. I really do. Like, you never stop finding things, finding new, like, hidden gems in the script, and you never, like, stop learning about, like, your character, like, does everything on purpose, and, like, learning, like, going through that and really digging into it is really cool. I don't know. I feel like a lot of contemporary scripts don't have that anymore.
For me, like, I read a lot of Shakespeare in high school for English and like AP Lang and stuff, and there was always, I felt like there was a secret that I wasn't in on, because it was always so confusing when we had to analyze it. I'm like, I don't know what this means, but it sounds fancy, and now I actually understand what it means. So that was really cool.
To go off of that, the kind of way that, like, I've been describing this experience to, like, my other friends and things like that, is that I've kind of found out that in Shakespeare there's almost like a puzzle, and once you kind of figure it out, you're like in on the secret. You're like, oh my gosh, I know what's going on. Like, it's like super exciting. And I was like kind of nervous for this experience. I was like, I don't know about Shakespeare. Like, I don't know if I can pull that off. But it's just been super exciting, and yeah, it's fun to know.
Any other questions? Yes.
Was it intentional for you to, I'm not supposed to, like, for all of you to cast like an entire female group, or was it kind of,
You noticed? Does anyone want to answer that question? Do you want to take a stab at it?
So I'm sure you're all familiar that during Shakespeare's time, all of his plays would have been performed by a cast of all men. So we wanted to do a new take on it with a cast of all women and show how our times have changed.
that's cool.
Yeah, right? I mean, you had male actors playing females in Shakespeare's time, and so those conventions are built into the script. The gender bending is built into it, and there are actually a lot of really well-known good theater companies that are doing either all-female or all-male productions right now, and just discovering what it does to the script and how the meaning of things change. So it's kind of a question of what happens. And I'd be curious to know what you think. Is it, so we have, Leontes, who is this jealous tyrant, who's a jerk, no offense. But what does it mean when those words are coming out of the mouth of someone that's that's not actually male? Does that change the meaning of it in any way? Does it make you think about it differently? Just sort of the questions that we were curious to ask with this. Yeah. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I want to say thank you so much for inviting us. It was a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it.
Okay, let's load up.
Okay.